Hello gamers, how you doing? My name is John. This is the first part of a 3-part mini-series that I plan on reviewing classic Milton Bradley board games based on classic arcade games from the 1980s. These board games came out throughout the 80s by Milton Bradley. There's actually a number of them. In this episode I'll be reviewing Centipede based on the classic Atari game, Centipede. Centipede is actually one of my favorite arcades, so how does the board game play and compare and feel to the actual arcade game? So I'm going to show you how to play it. I'll show you some of the graphics they use for the artwork. I think they're really cool. This is a really cool set. Came out in 1983. So without any further ado, let's take a closer look at the board game Centipede. This is the box art for Centipede, the board game. Absolutely love the artwork on here. It's fantastic. Really well done. I mean, it looks nothing like the arcade, but still really, really cool. And then it's for ages 7 to 14. It's for only 2 players. It's a downside, so not many board games are specifically only for 2 players. Bottom right corner, it reads, based on the action-packed arcade game by Atari. See box bottom for details. So speaking of which, let's go turn to the side here. You can kind of see the back of it. You can kind of see the gist of the game itself, the board, how it looks, and how it plays. Enter the world of Centipede, a strange land of scrolling centipedes, deadly scorpions, dangerous spiders, and poisonous mushrooms. I'm kind of scared to play this game, to be quite honest with you, man. If I was young. 83 is the copyright on the bottom there. Early 80s. Let's open this thing up and see what we have inside. This is the board itself. Opens up really good condition still. I don't think there's either a top or bottom. I think they're both the same because both boards are flip-flops, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think, but and I think they're the same on both sides, or it works the same on both sides, so there's really no top or bottom on that. You also have centipedes, a whole bunch of mushrooms. These are the things that you shoot as well. When the centipede's coming down, these are the things that get in the way. Also have instructions, which is very important to have instructions, otherwise it'd be hard to figure out how to play the game. Here looks like a spinner. Free choice, you got a spider, I don't know. We'll read the instructions and I'll figure out what this is all about. Still have the sticker sheets from way back in the day. That's interesting, that's still there. These are a whole bunch of different circuit cardboard pieces. Got plastic pieces as well. You got 2 guns here, which I'm sure we'll learn about here in a second. This is the punch-out piece for the spin-to-win thing. It's probably garbage, but it's interesting it's still there. Here's the punch-out for those cardboard pieces. And there's just a bunch of other stickers you put on the top of these things. I'm going to read the instructions real quick and explain to you guys how to play it. Okay, I've got the board set up. This game's a little bit more complicated than I thought, but I was able to figure it out. And actually, it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun to play. There are 2 opponents. Each opponent's home base is in adjacent corners. And there's centipedes. There's 6 segments for each centipede. The goal and objective of the game is to get into your opponent's home base. Once your opponent does that, or you do that to your opponent, the game is essentially over. So the goal is obviously to move quick without getting hit. And I'll explain a little bit more how that works later. There's also 2 guns. Each opponent has a gun, which I'll explain a little bit later. And there's 2 other characters. You have your spider, you have your scorpion. Scorpions lay these poisonous mushrooms on the board. You can only lay these poisonous mushrooms on parts where there's these small circles. So yeah, say I move the scorpion here and I land it there. Those come into play. I'll explain what those do a little later. The spider actually can remove those poisonous mushrooms. Why are poisonous mushrooms important? Well, essentially it kind of acts like a shortcut. And if you don't want your opponent to use that shortcut, then your strategy would be to move the spider there and take it away. One very important piece in this game is the spinner. There's 4 actions or options for the spinner to do. You have your centipede, which will move your character, and you move each space for how many parts you have alive. So if you have 6 parts of your body alive, you move 6 spaces. If you have 5, you move 5 spaces, etc., so forth. Here's a gun, and if you land on that option, you get to move your gun 1 spot first, either left or right, and you get to fire. You cannot move your gun here. You can't fire these curves here. These red lines, that means you can't fire. Only in these sections here can you fire straight ahead. This lands on the spider or scorpion. This will allow you to move your scorpion or spider 1 spot each turn. And you also have a free choice, so basically you can choose which option you want to do. Now when firing your gun, say I'm this character right here, I'm down here, and say my opponent, let's say, is right here, okay? And he's moving along, and say my gun is here, and I land on the gun. This thing spins to gun. My spinner spins to the gun. I can move mine to the left and fire straight ahead, and it's going to hit this part of the body. So I'm going to flip this over, and that means that part of the body is dead. So he now from moving forward, he can only move 5 spots instead of 6, if that makes sense. Now say he was backed up here a little bit, and say I fired straight ahead and I shot his head. He can no longer move. You need the head alive in order to move. Now you ask yourself, how can that be? How can you make your head alive again? Well, essentially my opponent would have to spin on the centipede spot, and he would be able to move his head alive, but he would lose his turn as far as moving goes. So it's an important strategy in that regard. Now say my character is along here, and I guess he'd be facing this way, and say I have one spot that's dead, and I have my gun, and I fire, and I hit this one where the dead spot. I can actually make that alive again by firing at my character. So that's cool. I can make it alive in that sense. Now if it's another, say I move here and my guy's in the way, it's going to cross over and just hit. See, I still have a live piece here. It's going to only affect my opponent, so you can't kill yourself essentially, if that makes sense. Now say I move, I spin on the spider, and I'm finally here, and let's move it here, and my spider legs a mushroom, poisonous mushroom, and I'm moving along. Poisonous mushrooms, essentially what they do is they cause you to shortcut. So it can't move past the poisonous mushroom. So basically what I do is I shortcut over here, and I move this way. So that obviously saved me a lot of time, so it's a huge strategy. Now say we're coming about along here, my opponent's this way, and I'm this way, and we keep coming, and like we bump into each other. What would happen is basically I would say he moves, he would jump over me, or if it was my move, I would jump over him, and any mushrooms or any spiders that there are in the way, they would basically move. If I fire a gun and say I hit a spider or a scorpion, I would actually hit the scorpion or spider, and they would go back to their adjacent places. So they'd just move back to their home base. You can't kill them forever. And that's, in a nutshell, that's basically how you play Centipede. So it's kind of similar to the game where Centipede's moving up and down. You can fire at them. There's mushrooms. Kind of it's kind of complicated. So hopefully I explained that well enough. You can kind of get the gist of how to play Centipede. But yeah, this is kind of an interesting game. It looks a lot of fun. I love the artwork on the board. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you soon. Take care.